Commonwealth's attorneys and I have concluded that the NCAA sanctions were overreaching and unlawful.
Someone's got to develop a product that you and I as a consumer are going to want to buy.
The country needs a comprehensive energy plan.
Hello and welcome to this edition of For the Record. Healthcare is a topic on everybody's minds, and hospital mergers are a big topic right now, one of which is a Altoona Hospital merging with UPMC. And joining us from the Altoona Hospital is Jerry Murray. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve.
Now, where are we in the process with the merger with UPMC and the Altoona Regional Hospital System?
Well, the merger was finalized on July 1st, so we officially became UPMC Altoona. So that is done. We're now beginning the process of assimilating into the UPMC system.
What were the factors that made you decide to go with UPMC?
Sure, there were multiple factors. I mean, if I can, I'll back up a little bit.
Sure.
This whole process started about 2.5 years ago, October of 2010, when we took our board on a board retreat. At that time, healthcare reform was a big topic, and no one knew where that was going, and we felt it was important to educate the board on all the challenges that was going to bring and the challenges we were currently under at that time. And our board's, I think, eyes were opened with hearing from some of the futurists and the experts in healthcare, things like if you weren't or aren't in the next 2 years a $2 billion company, the chances of survival were very slim. Our board's goal when they came back was to develop strategies that would ensure Altoona Regional at that time's future in continuing to provide the level of services that we currently do today. And they felt that without an alignment of some sort, that wasn't going to happen. So we had three different areas that we looked at. First, we talked with some of the smaller hospitals around us and considered forming a Blair County healthcare system.
J.C. Blair, Tyrone, those?
J.C. Blair, Tyrone, and Nason, we were having discussions with them. Probably about 4 months into that process, we reached out to some of the larger systems around us, similar to our size. Conemaugh, Penn Highlands, which consisted of Du Bois, Clearfield, and Brookville, and Mount Nittany. And could we form a central Pennsylvania healthcare system that we called the Four Corners? And that process took about an 8-month period of time to look at what we would look like if we were able to pull that off. And actually 4 months into that process, our board said, if that wasn't going to happen or couldn't happen, we better have a larger strategy in play. And began talking with some of the larger systems. We had a brief conversation with Hershey. We've had multiple meetings with Geisinger, Highmark, who was at that time announcing the purchase of West Penn Allegheny, and of course UPMC. So we actually had, as I described it, 2 feet and 3 boats,
Sure.
all those discussions going on at the same time, and ultimately selected UPMC. We felt was the best fit for Altoona Regional to help us ensure the success and the continuation of the programs that we offer.
Now, UPMC, what is the closest? Is it Bedford is the closest hospital system to Altoona right now that UPMC is involved with?
Yes, Bedford has been in the UPMC for, I believe, well over 10 years.
Now, UPMC was the ultimate choice. What were the deciding factors on why it was UPMC versus Geisinger, which is in Lewistown,
Sure.
or Penn State Hershey, which is involved now with Mount Nittany Medical Center? What were the deciding factors in that?
Well, when we started the process with the larger systems, we began looking at from the day one who was going to be the best fit culturally for Altoona Regional. That was our #1 priority, and we had about 7 or 8 criteria that we evaluated all those systems on. We involved our medical staff, which both independent physicians and employed physicians were at the table, interviewing, discussing with all those systems. We put together a subcommittee of the board. We have a number of subsidiary companies that were also involved in the process, over 60 individuals that were evaluating who was the best fit. And it came down to culturally. It wasn't surprising, I don't believe, any patients or community members in our market that leave the area for services, whether it's services we don't provide or they feel that the care can be better somewhere else. 75% of what leaves our market goes to UPMC. So I think our medical staff certainly felt comfortable moving in that direction, but when we went through the process, we looked at everybody equally during it, and it really came down to a cultural fit.
Now, when you put your groups together to decide this and you brought in outside people, were the companies that were involved in the medical line, or are they more looking at insurance, what services they could provide for their employees?
No, it was our subsidiary companies, Home Nursing, which has a large presence in central and western Pennsylvania, provide post-acute services. They have over 1,000 employees. We had their board members involved. We've got multiple physician practices in those entities. We've got a durable medical equipment company. Those board members were involved in the process. So it was all, it was everyone within the system. And of course, the board was intimately involved in that whole process, and they represent the community.
Now, Pittsburgh, do people in Altoona, we talked about the culture, do they more align themselves with Pittsburgh because it's just a natural, the closest big city to them, as opposed to, say, Harrisburg, Hershey?
You know, it's just been that way for a number of years, where people have left the community, just felt comfortable going to Pittsburgh. I mean, we do have folks that do, particularly the pediatric patients. We've got a number that do travel to Geisinger. We do have some outward migration to Johns Hopkins and in other locations. When you now bring people in, you're part of UPMC, but you're a separate part of UPMC. You don't recruit, like if a physician recruiter goes out, do you go out, is there one central recruiter now, or are you still going to be recruiting for people just at Altoona? Well, Altoona Regional is going to be UPMC's Central Pennsylvania tertiary hub. Again, we're still too early in the process. I mean, you know, it's going to take probably a good 3 to 4 years to fully integrate with UPMC. But, you know, they're looking at our market as distinctly different than the Pittsburgh market. You know, those kind of services we haven't gotten down. And over the next 6 months, we'll be putting plans together to looking at those types of priorities. Right now, we'll continue to do what we're doing. We do physician recruitment with our physician recruiter out of the Altoona market. We'll continue to do that, but we'll coordinate those efforts with UPMC in Pittsburgh. We have about 30 seconds in this segment left. What is the starting process from today through the next year in terms of where you want to be, and then year 2? I'm not sure I can even answer that at this point, since we just really started sitting down and looking at what those priorities are going to be. We haven't really outlined those as of yet. We don't want to rush into assuming anything. We're going to take our time and just go through what makes most sense. It's a good stopping point. When we come back, we'll talk more about the merger with Jerry Murray from the Altoona Regional Hospital. You're watching For the Record on WHVL. And welcome back to For the Record. We're talking with Jerry Murray from the Altoona Regional Hospital System about the merger with UPMC. Jerry, when we left, we talked about where you were in the process from here going forward. Let's talk about some of the services that are offered at the hospital and what improvements. There won't be any significant cuts in services by joining UPMC, will there? No, actually, that was one of the attractive things about UPMC. And in our agreement, they've made a 20-year commitment to Altoona Regional to be that tertiary hub and to provide the same level of services that we have today, if not improve or expand on that. We haven't gotten into any discussion on what other services we might add, but clearly the ones that we have, if we didn't do this, would have been in danger of losing some of those, which would have been, you know, potentially job reductions as well. So we look at this as a way to solidify those service lines and continue to enhance and improve them. And if you look at, you know, UPMC's results in Hammett, or in Erie with Hammett, they had a 8% reduction in outward migration, so the people that used to leave that community was reduced by 8%. They had a concern over their neurosurgery program. One of the first things UPMC did was recruit 3 neurosurgeons to that market to keep that business there. So we're looking at you know, similar results, I believe, in the Altoona market. One of the areas that I was shocked looking at, one of the things that hospitals don't like to do anymore is deliver babies. And it's not just it's more about the unusual or difficult births now. Is that been an issue before at Altoona? No, I mean, we have, I believe, we deliver about 1,200 babies a year. Now, the Altoona market in Blair County, we're seeing a little bit of a decline in population. We're an aging community, so just by virtue of that, we're seeing the declines, you know, within our facility. But you know, OB services are going to continue at the hospital as they have in the past. One of the other things that Altoona is known for, certainly when there's accidents in this center region here, the trauma center at Altoona has been unfortunately very popular. That's one of the places that people are taken to rather quickly.
That's got to say a lot about the services and the quality of physicians that you have there, especially in your ER unit.
Yeah, that was certainly one of the concerns. Remaining independent, the trauma program would have, I think, could have been in jeopardy. That the relationship with UPMC, they're committed financially. They're committed to the institution, to the organization. But the trauma program has been a lifesaver, literally to hundreds of people. It goes all the way up to the New York border and down to the Maryland border, Pennsylvania-Maryland border. So it covers a pretty wide geographic area. And trauma services, really, the helicopters get in the air and they have to take those patients to the nearest trauma center.
Sure. The wound care and ostomy program, that jumped out at me when I was looking at the website. What all is involved there?
Very large, intensive, extensive wound care services. And actually both Altoona Hospital and Bon Secours had two very good wound care programs. Altoona Hospital, prior to the merger with Bon Secours, was focused on the hyperbaric chamber. Bon Secours was more on the wound debridement, etc. We've got a high diabetic population. We've seen great reductions in amputations because of the wound care program, getting those patients into when they have infections and difficult infections. It's a well-known program. We've had, even before the merger with UPMC, the Pittsburgh physicians recognizing the quality of care in that wound care program at Altoona Regional.
It was interesting you just talked about that. There's already been one merger within the Altoona Regional system. That was Bon Secours and Altoona joining together. And that went by. Was there a lot of fanfare when that took place?
No, I'll tell you, that was one of the best things that happened in the Altoona market when Bon Secours and Altoona Hospital came together. And actually, would have been 9 years this coming October. As a result of that, we were able to consolidate the acute care beds onto the Altoona Hospital campus. Everyone is seeing a decline in inpatient census across the state and across the country. There's a move to push patients to the outpatient side. And we were able to take all of the outpatient services off of both campuses and create a new outpatient medical mall in the Altoona market, state-of-the-art facility, very easy to access. Patients don't have to walk through hospitals or the hospital, and typically they're like mazes, finding their way through it. So patients find that extremely convenient. So that was one of the good things that came out of the Bon Secours Altoona Hospital merger.
Now, what have you been doing with the public overall besides, thank you for sitting down here and talking to us about it. You've been going out and talking to people within the communities affected by the merger. What's the feedback you're getting as you go out and talk about it?
Well, the process itself involved the board, which obviously, as I said, represents the community. I had, prior to that, gone out and spoke with various clubs, and if asked, certainly went out to speak about it. There have been recently, saw last week maybe in the paper, some community concerns and wanted and had a town hall meeting that unfortunately I was not able to attend. We've answered questions from people that have called on the phone. There were a few individuals from the community that came in and met with me one-on-one that had some concerns, and most of the concerns, I would say 80% of it, really centered around the Highmark UPMC issue that's going on in Pittsburgh, with UPMC's boards voting not to accept Highmark commercial insurance after 2014, or not negotiate a contract after 2014. Doesn't mean they won't see their patients, they'll just be out of network. And that is not going to be the case in the Altoona market, as it won't be in the Bedford market as well. We expect to negotiate a contract with Highmark like we do all other payers. But that's where the concern centered around for the members in the community, those Highmark subscribers that want to access Altoona, UPMC Altoona, but fear that we won't accept Highmark, and that's not the case.
Well, that's part of, let's talk about this poll that went in the Altoona Mirror here. The percentage of people that think it'll be good is 28. The largest percentage is I'm wary of it is about 50%, 47%. Do you think that is pretty much the fear or the unknown of the Highmark carryover into this marketplace?
Yes, I would say by and large that is the #1 fear of the community. It was what's going to happen. Highmark represents about 65% of our business currently, right now, on the commercial side, and obviously that's a concern for patients if we're not accepting Highmark. We have stated in the paper at least 3 times that we will be negotiating with Highmark, as I said, as we are with all payers. And unfortunately, I think people are either going to believe it or they're not going to believe it, and they're going to just have to live through it and see that that's going to happen.
Now, if Bedford and Altoona are going to work with Highmark, where's that physical line then if Pittsburgh is not going to be part of the Highmark system?
I'm not sure. I think there's not a line. So, for example, if someone from Pittsburgh wanted to come and use Altoona, UPMC Altoona, and they were Highmark subscribers, we would take it.
Excellent.
So it really
That's
depends
a
on
good stopping point, Jerry. When we come back, we'll talk more about the merger with the Altoona Regional Hospital and UPMC. You're watching For the Record on WHVL. Welcome back to For the Record. We're talking with Jerry Murray from the Altoona Regional Hospital. Jerry, when we left, we talked about the benefits. We were talking about the benefits of the merger. Some of the things that Altoona is going to reap are financial benefits. Let's talk about some of those that people understand the investment that UPMC is going to make in the Altoona Hospital.
Sure. UPMC is committing $250 million over the next 10 years for capital improvements and service improvements. Also are donating or have donated $10 million to our Foundation for Life for services and programming in our region, in the Altoona market, in the areas that we serve. As I indicated, they have a committed 20 years of maintaining the existing service lines, which are very, very key, particularly in the area of IT. When you look at technology, the expense that most systems are under with moving to electronic medical records. So huge expense.
Is there an expansion of the physical plant that you see happening with, well, you said Bon Secours is pretty much sitting there. That's sort of open right now as a potential for more services at that?
Yeah, Bon Secours, we closed last April. We moved the acute care beds over to the Altoona Hospital campus, and that building is not occupied at the moment, with the exception our finance department is still over there. They haven't consolidated, but eventually we're looking for the best use for that campus. I'm not sure at this point if it will be used for healthcare services. As I indicated, everybody across the state, certainly in our areas, they're seeing a decline in inpatient admissions. And so as healthcare reform moves more towards the prevention side, and you really want to talk about reduction of cost, that's really what it's all about, is preventing people. Acute care beds, you're not going to see that as much. You're going to move more towards the outpatient side and health promotion.
Preventative care, that's the two largest factors are, correct me if I'm wrong, smoking and obesity?
Yes, yeah. The two things that people can control that probably contribute to over 50%, a little over 50% of premature deaths that occur in this country. It could probably be attributed to smoking and obesity.
With UPMC being such a large teaching institute as well, do you see an expansion in career opportunities, teaching opportunities to come to Altoona as opposed to in Pittsburgh?
Well, I think we have a family practice residency program in Altoona. We would look to, hopefully expand on that, and whether there's other residency programs that they can bring. UPMC as a system have a whole host of opportunities within that system. We're looking at, this could be certainly an economic development for the Altoona region by aligning with UPMC. I think that's certainly a benefit that can happen.
Well, I was thinking, is it possible that it could become a camp, Bon Secours maybe become a campus for, expanded healthcare, not just physicians, but, like we talk about nurse practitioners or maybe someone on the lines of ultrasound, those kinds of things?
Well, I think we have, we're fortunate, quite honestly, the Center County and Blair County region with being blessed with a lot of higher education with, Penn State Altoona, Mount Aloysius, St. Francis, all of those institutions have nursing schools, x-ray techs, physician assistants, UPMC, with a nurse practitioner program in Pittsburgh. All of that is good for this region, and because of that, we have been, in times when people have struggled to find nurses or technicians of various sorts, we don't see the kind of shortage that some other areas do. I don't know that we want to compete with that per se, but rather develop partnerships with those institutions.
One of the things when there's always a merger, people worry about losing local control. The board of directors for Altoona, UPMC Altoona, are they going to still be Altoona people, or will the decisions be made now in Pittsburgh for the hospital?
The board complement, again, for the next 20 years is going to consist of 2/3 of the board are going to be representatives of Altoona, the legacy board. and we'll be responsible for finding replacements as board seats become available. And then the other third is will be populated or appointed by UPMC. UPMC, and as we've looked at other markets and how those boards operate, et cetera, they really look for the local board to direct what goes on in the market. They know best what goes on in the market. So it's really, I think, a really good working relationship. Our board from the day one it wasn't a control issue for them. It was all about how do we maintain services, and we're never concerned about control as being an issue.
What are when we talk about healthcare, we have to talk about this. Was any part of the Affordable Health Care Act an impetus to part of this?
Oh, absolutely. I think more the uncertainty of what that was going to bring. When we went into this process, we had challenges like declining reimbursement, increasing cost. Our payer mix in our market, a little over 60%, almost 65% is Medicare, Medicaid. For every one of those patients, we lose money. We don't cover our cost. So, we make it up on the commercial business. One concern about as we move forward into these exchanges, we believe that a lot of the smaller employers and some mid-sized employers will force or push those people to the exchanges. Those exchange rate reimbursements we anticipate will mirror Medicare, Medicaid, further decreasing our ability to make a profit to keep services going. And that was a real big concern for our board in joining a larger system where you can get some efficiencies and cost savings, et cetera, in order to maintain what we're currently doing.
Does the Altoona market have a lot of uninsured people that you have to treat?
There's a fair amount of Medicaid patients. I think the uninsured, or we call it the working poor, probably represents about 10 to 12%.
What do you see as the future of small systems like Tyrone or J.C. Blair? Do you see them ultimately being forced because of the financial environment of healthcare having to go into with merging with other people?
I think when you look at what's expected on the electronic medical record side and the cost there, the difficulty with recruiting physicians to sometimes some of those types of markets, increasing cost, decreasing reimbursements, it is going to be very, very difficult. Our board wanted to be proactive. When we looked out over the next 3 to 5 years, we were okay.
That's right. We have about 30 seconds left. Where can people go to find out more information about this merger? The website quickly.
Sure, on Altoona Regional's website, just type in Altoona Regional, pull up the website. There's a portal that they can click on that'll put you right into where you're able to ask questions and or see questions that were answered.
Jerry, thank you for being here.
Okay.
Thank you for watching this edition of For the Record on WHVL. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.